to Wide the Truck.
Oh, dear Lord, Chad! My, how the mighty have grown! What is going on here?
We have come a long way.
Where's the hot yoga studio of sound?
We've even gone past that. I feel like George Jefferson, we're coming on up
Man,
to
and
the
you
top.
know, this is the culmination of the hard work of a lot of people, not just the two guys who are sitting right here, not just the guests we have on the show. A lot of guys behind the scenes, a lot of guys on the financial side making this happen, general manager of the company putting this together.
Yep.
People like Craig Fuller, and it looks magical.
We have podcasted.
And you guys do, right? And these guys watching at home.
Thank you for watching on Facebook, on LinkedIn, Twitter,
YouTube.
Keep on tuning in. We love you. And, we sit from podcasting in closets to JP's house with a 30-pound cat crawling all over us to here in the studio at Freight Alley. These things are happening. It's exciting.
Yeah. Some juicy, this is a juicy day because there's a lot of gossip going on, you know?
Yeah.
Last month, FedEx broke up with Amazon on the air. This month, FedEx broke up with Amazon on the ground, Chad.
Yeah, so where are they going to be hitching a ride? You know, be careful who you hitch with. Have you ever hitchhiked, Dooner?
I haven't hitchhiked, but one time my car broke down on the side of the road, and I walked over to this home, my buddies and I, and we were like 16. We walked over to on the side of the highway like a horror movie, and a guy did open the door, and he offered us beer. Yeah.
Not a ride, but a beer.
No, he offered us some beer. It was strange, you know. But we're going to have Kevin Hill on tonight. He's going to be our relationship counselor on this FedEx Amazon thing. Help us digest it. What's going on there?
Yeah.
Will they ever make it together again? I don't think so.
That'll be some kind of therapy.
Chad, but you know how we do it around here. First, we got to pay the bills. TriumphPay is the leading carrier payment platform in transportation. With over 50,000 carriers paid, TriumphPay helps to drive capacity, efficiency, and cash flow for brokers and shippers. Visit TriumphPay.com to learn more.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, man. Let's get to the headlines. We got a lot.
Load Smart and Starsky Robotics. They collaborate to price, dispatch, and deliver first automated loads. Digital freight brokerage LoadSmart and self-driving startup Starsky Robotics announced today, August 8th, that they have successfully priced, booked, and delivered not one but two loads of freight without human intervention. The pilot project, it's part of a larger strategic partnership that paves the way for the future of trucking. Autonomous brokerages dispatching freight to autonomous trucks without human involvement, the company said in their joint release, Dooner. The automated loads were delivered in late July in Texas, according to Hunter Yaw, Vice President of Product for LoadSmart.
I love that name.
I know.
Hunter Yaw. Something really important was said there, though, Chad.
Yeah.
But it wasn't by Hunter Yaw.
Oh.
He said some other important stuff, but it wasn't that. And this guy also has an amazing name. His name is Stefan Seltz-Axmacher, and he is the chief executive and co-founder of Starsky. But he says this, automating the brokerage means that it costs less money to move goods via truck because you don't need to pay for all the back office overhead. From his perspective, it means the folks on our trucking operations team can spend more of their time talking to drivers and solving driver problems than haggling on rate per mile with a broker. Chad, are the brokers being put on notice there?
Well, let's hope not.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's hope that there's going to be a place for everybody at the table.
I don't know, but what was interesting is, like, usually we hear about, like, truck drivers being afraid of losing their jobs with autonomous, but this guy instead is like, well, actually, we might be actually cutting out the 3PL a little bit.
I don't see that happening anytime soon, if at all.
Well, okay, OMB confirms hours of service rulemaking still under review. This is probably going to be an ongoing story for a long time, and one review after the other, but the rulemaking proposal, which Federal Maritime Carrier Safety Administration, that's the FMCSA, Chief Mr. Ray Martinez, he originally anticipated rolling out as a part of a fast-track schedule, was initially delayed by the federal government shutdown that occurred in late December 2018. U.S. Department of Transportation, that's the DOT, Secretary Elaine Chao, subsequently confirmed in late March this year at the Mid-America Trucking Show that the proposed rulemaking had been sent to OMB. Although quick approval from OMB was considered likely given the significance of the rule, the original publication date wasn't until May 8th. With a comment period ending June 6th, the publication date was then pushed back July 31st with a comment period ending September 16th. So, yeah.
But given the latest delay, a final rule may not be rolled out before the end of the year. But even if a final rule isn't published until early 2020, an implementation date for changes made to the rules, which are usually 3 to 6 months later, would still fall under the 3-year rulemaking timeframe that Martinez had said he was hoping to beat.
Wow.
So, you know. Brexit and the ongoing U.S.-China trade war might sink European
it's not just us.
economy.
It's not just us. It's a little dysfunctional here in America.
Yeah, it's the Europeans too, possibly. as the U.S. turns the screws on China with its recent announcement to levy a 10% tariff on $300 billion more of Chinese exports, the European Union is clueless about the damage this could cause to its economy. Latest among the U.S. accusations is that China is a currency manipulator, an allegation that is not completely unfounded, as the Chinese yuan fell below the virtual glass ceiling exchange rate of 7 yen per U.S. dollar. The yuan currently trades at 7.04 per USD. This deflationary situation will reverberate across European markets, which are already slipping into recession.
Not that word.
The German manufacturing market is in its worst shape since 2012, when the Eurozone crisis played out. Major German automakers like Daimler and BMW manufacture many of their exports to China from U.S. plants, and the tariffs war has caused a steep decline in their Chinese sales, Dooner.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. This part, like the U.S. has been pressuring the EU to buy agricultural products, a push that will only grow stronger as China starts looking the other way. With Brexit looming on the corner, the EU's economy is in a state of shock, and it might take a miracle, Chad, to stop the steep decline in Chinese sales. Do you think so?
I'm praying for a miracle.
All I need is a miracle.
No cowbell for that.
What about the GAO? Well, because, we're saying recession. I don't like using that term. We're trying to stay away from it.
Just a desk bump.
I did see an interesting thing, though. I think it was Phil Moody who sent it, and he was talking about the trucking recession that happened in 2008. And there was hundreds of carriers that went out of business.
800, I believe.
It was crazy. Yeah, like 100 times more than have gone out of business so far. So we're not there.
No.
Not even close. I mean, look at the Dow. I mean, there's always panic when you hear the word recession, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's more than a correction.
Well, GAO is critical of outdated inspection practices at U.S. ports by Customs and Border Protection agents, Chad.
Oh, boy.
United States Customs and Border Protection, that's a CBP for those of you who like the acronyms, is inspecting policies don't reflect new technology or threats and are outdated.
Shocker.
According to an August 6th report from the GAO, which is the Government Accountability Office. CBP border inspectors for passenger and commercial vehicles currently include reviewing travel documents, screening as law enforcement databases, and using canines and X-ray machines.
However, CBP has not updated all of its policies and training materials, in some cases for 20 years. The GAO review stated CBP has also not kept up with changes in technology, such as newer techniques for conducting searches and handling drugs such as fentanyl, which, Michael Jackson died from, Tom Petty died
Prince.
from. I mean, Prince.
Yeah. And Trump had tweeted that the reason he instituted those new 10% tariffs was because the Chinese weren't doing enough about fentanyl.
Weird.
Remember? We thought that was kind of random, a random inclusion in that tweet.
Just another one of those curious tweets.
Yeah. Well, you know what we're going to do now? We're going to have 5 good minutes. With Kevin Hill, our relationship counselor on the scene.
Bring in the director of research.
Head of FreightWaves Research. 5, count of 5. 5 good minutes. Here he is.
Hey, come on in, Kevin Hill.
Oh, man. Kevin, did you sleep last night?
I did, yes.
Okay. You slept well.
I did.
All right. Well, I thought maybe because you do all this research and everything on this Amazon FedEx situation, it's almost like your parents getting divorced.
Yeah. Do they need couples therapy, or is this a healthy break between the two titans?
I think it's a healthy break.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I think it's a healthy break. They were just casually dating anyway, so it's not like they were married or anything.
1.3%, right?
Yeah, 1.3%.
So it's not a divorce.
No, it probably wasn't a great piece of margin business with 2-day delivery.
Yeah.
Now you roll into 1-day delivery. and the juice or the squeeze.
Are you guys Prime
Sorry.
customers? Do you have Prime?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
You
get a lot of side benefits.
like Wi-Fi.
Friends with benefits.
Well, we were talking, like Kevin and I were talking when we walked in here, and I was like, I can't think of the last time FedEx delivered something for me from Amazon. I get UPS all the time, and I get USPS, but almost never FedEx.
I can't remember myself, right?
Yeah.
The last time I got a FedEx package from Amazon.
Yeah, maybe they were already kind of stonewalling. They were at that point in the relationship. Because I think that FedEx was threatened, but they overall they feel like that Amazon didn't have their best interests at heart. They feel like they were really a competitor. Right?
Well, they probably are. Right?
Yeah, they're spending too much time on themselves, too much time in front of the mirror, right?
Yes, and 40% of the time, right?
Yeah.
Amazon is in front of the mirror.
Yeah.
And that's just going to grow.
Yeah.
The time is just going to grow with that. So Amazon is looking for alternatives to deliver everything themselves.
Well, here was from one of the reports. They said Amazon provided low margins for FedEx. The proliferation of high volume, low margin customers like Amazon is clear in FedEx's most recent quarterly report. FedEx UPS deferred package segment non-priority shipments and e-commerce parcels increased by 24% in volume, but dropped by 7% in revenue per package.
Yeah, and for FedEx, there's plenty of other fish in the sea.
Yeah.
Right? There's Walmart, there's Target, there's other e-commerce small business platforms like Shopify that's making huge investments into logistics for their customers.
So they want one that doesn't always need a pat on the head.
Thank you. That
By the way, your hair feels lovely today, Chad. What are you conditioner with?
No conditioner, bro. But I do have product. I'll just keep that to myself, though, unless they want to sponsor the show. Hey, Kevin. But some of the Wall Street analysts are saying that Amazon's network is probably not much of a threat. But you're suggesting that you're going to be a contrarian.
Well, I mean, not over the next year or so. I mean, I think it's over $100 billion in investments to really be a competitor for FedEx or for UPS.
Right.
But they're trending that way. Now, whether there will ever be a true competitor of FedEx, who knows? But Amazon is a huge part of the total e-commerce delivery system. Is it for like 40% of e-commerce is delivered? Amazon? I might have that wrong. It
might, at least 40.
Yeah, at least 40. Yeah. So that's a huge chunk of the market right there. So,
well, how about this?
So they can control that.
70 planes and 10,000 trucks is what Amazon's fleet is currently.
Okay.
How big of a carrier is that compared to other carriers that are out there?
That's a huge carrier.
Yeah.
There's huge. I think a lot of those are hot shots or cargo vans or not truck, Class 8 trucks. But that's still a huge fleet.
Are they counting?
They're huge.
Are they counting Flex in that?
We have just a minute. We have on Facebook. Craig Bliss says, "I think the divorce between FedEx and Amazon is more political, or at least personal, between the owners of both empires than an operational move." What do you think about that?
Well, I think I haven't heard of any real beefs between Fred Smith and Jeff Bezos. Myself, I mean, I haven't seen any dirty laundry aired, kind of like Bezos has with others, but it could be something to that effect. But I think operationally, that narrative still works.
Because I have a tweet here, right?
Oh, okay.
So this one is from, if I can find it.
Well, I would say while you're looking for that,
maybe it's been deleted.
Why, Kevin? Aren't?
I guess it's been deleted.
Is it just okay? Is it easy for FedEx to break up with Amazon because it's only 1.3%? Like, why are the UPSs or USPSs? I mean, I'm sure it's complicated in different ways. But why aren't they saying, you know what? We see you as a competitor to Amazon. We are not taking these rates. We're either going to break up with you or we're going to renegotiate. Why? Or is this maybe a tipping point?
I think density of networks, right? So I think it fits into UPS's model and certainly USPS's model, right? Of delivering parcels.
Okay.
So I think that's a huge part of it, and it represents more of UPS's overall revenue. But 1.3% of revenue, we're not talking about margin. I mean, how much do you make on that 1.3% of revenue? It could be zero, and with one day, it could be negative.
Gotcha.
So
good point.
Guys, judge the tweet. I found the tweet. It's from Dave Clark. He's Amazon's SVP of Operations.
Okay.
He writes, "Nothing but respect for FedEx. but they were a very small piece of our network and vice versa. We wish them nothing but the best, conscious uncoupling at its finest. We have great strategic partners who are part of our long-term plan, and we appreciate what they do for customers.
That's their story, and they're sticking to it.
Very politically correct,
Yeah.
you know? And I think FedEx delivered 4% of Amazon's packages, right?
Could be.
So that's part of the Amazon piece. So it wasn't really a huge piece of either.
Okay. Well, there you have it. Any last words for like what we should be thinking? Any takeaways that we've missed here in this uncovering of this story?
Yeah, what's a non-collaborative partner?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
What is a non-collaborative partner? I think it's I think it's something that FedEx had to do, and I think Amazon. I think they're just going in. They're growing apart. They're going in different directions.
Okay.
It's like your girlfriend after high school. You guys grow, take different paths in life.
Yeah.
Who wins?
It's
Who ends up better? Yeah, who's in the bigger house at the end of the year? At the end of 10 years?
Well,
only time will tell.
Oh,
That they might
that's
might have
easy.
both big houses, but I think it's a good deal for both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it seemed about right.
Yeah.
UPS holds about 10%, right?
Yeah.
Of of Amazon's business.
No, if UPS and Amazon broke up, that would be a huge story.
Yeah.
I mean, that would be huge to both be selling off stocks.
Well,
and,
apparently this has some investors scared because they're like, well, if this can happen to FedEx, even though FedEx pulled the trigger, what happens when Amazon and UPS start fighting now?
Yeah, so Amazon, basically another thing with the FedEx position is that they got all the surge type of packaging that overload their network. So UPS might find themselves in a dire predicament with that extra freight coming in all at the busy season in the fourth quarter, right?
Could be in a bind or could be making more money. Depends on, I suppose, their capability to handle the density.
Yeah.
The
right?
density, yes. It's all about density.
Speaking of density, you've got a lot of density right there in your head holding all that research together.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
without the hair, you need it.
Well, how could Kevin, before we kick you out of here and get on to
Yes.
our earnings over under, we got our own games to play. These aren't games of love; these are games of challenge.
Yeah.
But where can our viewers find out more about you and our listeners? Still a podcast too.
Yeah, so the easiest way is through my emails, Khill, so KHILL at FreightWaves.com.
Kevin King of the Hill.
King of the Hill. So that's how you can find me. Any questions, just drop me a line.
All right, thank you, Kevin.
You bet.
A little closing bell on Kevin's time. Now it's the battle of the the So we had Rocky Apollo, which the man walking in right now compared it to himself to Drago versus Apollo. So we'll see what happens in this one.
We'll see.
Yeah,
I was
when we
thinking
play a
about
little.
not letting him have a rematch, but
Earnings over under.
All right, guys.
that was some
Are you
good
prepared?
music.
I'm hopefully it'll be better than last time.
Yeah,
That's all I
hopefully.
can say.
Can't be much worse than this, eh?
Who gets to go first this time?
Come on, guys, hold my beer.
No, this is just really,
All right.
this is just a gamification of what we're really trying to do, which is educate the market on our viewers on some important earnings.
And for people who don't know, this is John Paul Hamstead. Next to Chad, the originals on What the Truck, and it's very apropos he is on the show as we move into this brand new space in this brand new studio.
Yeah, this is cool. It keeps
Great
getting
to
better
have
and
you, man.
better. The octagon was something. This set is
A little
We've
cooler
come a
in here,
long
too.
way. We've come a long way since House Panther was in our laps in
we
your
used to record like in my guest
in your
bedroom.
house. Yeah. Okay.
All right, guys, you ready to play? We are going to start out with the winner. It's you, Chad. So Magna International.
Okay.
Magna International, the Ontario-based automotive parts supplier and largest auto parts manufacturer in North America, $1.57.
I'm going to say over, but just a little bit.
Okay.
Yes, over, but just a little bit.
He's
No,
just-
I wrote the article.
All right. He wrote the actual article. He's
Yeah,
like,
so
you
that-
wrote this article.
Yeah. So,
Although, sometimes I write things and then I immediately forget afterwards because there's so much like information consumption, especially in a fast-paced media place like this.
especially with earnings reports, because it's like they can't. The
There's
press
so
release
much.
hits. We have an hour to get it out, and then later on we might listen to the call and stuff like that. But it's super mechanical. It's just like typing.
All right, so I got a point, but I didn't gain anything.
Well,
because
yeah.
he just matched.
The $1.59. So it's $1.59. Why were they over?
They were over mostly on $409 million of share buybacks. Revenue was actually down 1%, but management said that was actually overperforming because global light vehicle sales were down 6%.
Okay.
Yeah.
A little confusing, but I guess so. All right. How about Lyft, guys? Lyft, ride-sharing app. Not as name brand as Uber, right? But they're pretty big. They're pretty up there. They used to have mustaches. I don't know if you remember that on the front, but
I don't.
Did they lose $1.66?
They didn't lose that much. They beat.
So they were over.
Yeah.
Over!
You're both right. They only lost 68 cents. The company reported
JP's bringing it a little bit hotter this time.
Yeah, defined as revenue less the cost of revenue, with the aforementioned items excluded from cost of revenue of $399 million, an 88% year-over-year increase. That's positive, right? Contributed margin increased 390 basis points to 46% in the quarter. I'm like a cat reading. I don't even know what any of this means. The adjusted earnings before interest, tax, depreciation, and EBITDA loss of $204 million was $14 million worse compared to the second quarter of 2018. But hey, guys, you got to lose money to lose money.
Yeah. No, they're new at this whole public company reporting their financials thing, so they get pretty goofy with these numbers. But yeah,
the language was really goofy.
They're growing really fast.
Yeah, I had no idea what you just
said. They raised guidance, and they didn't lose as much as some people thought they might.
So Uber lost a lot of money as well.
They are. Well, yeah. I mean, I don't. We don't know yet. They're about to report their earnings.
I mean, last quarter they lost.
They lost. Oh yeah, they lost. They lost
$1 billion or something.
Exactly $1 billion.
Yeah.
Last quarter.
When did these ride-sharing apps start making money?
Basically, the CEO of Uber said in an interview that they have lots of cash to keep growing as fast as possible, but they will pull the levers to get to profitability when the market demands.
All right.
Yeah. So they're going to keep this train running as long as they can until their stock price tanks, I guess.
All right, guys.
It's going to happen.
Expeditors, or if you're from where I'm from, Expeditors. The Seattle-based international freight forwarder, 80 cents over under.
Going over.
Also, I'm going to say over 2.
Yes. 88 cents. Customs brokerage was the big star of the quarter, growing revenues in that division by 19.8% year over year to $750.1 million for the quarter. And as someone who sold 3PL services, the money was always in the brokerage because, there's limited margins. The way 3PLs work, I won't give away all your secret sauce, but the way 3PLs work is they go out to contract with agents overseas and they get freight at a certain cost and they resell it. But the brokerage is really where you can control the cost. You can charge anywhere from like $75 to $125 an entry. There's line items you can put in, but other than cost of staff, that's a lot more stable than the volatility of the freight market.
Yeah. Brokerage makes a lot of money. What was interesting is that this quarter they saw a decline in air volumes. It kind of went to ocean. And then what the other really interesting thing about the Expeditors release, I thought, was that they actually broke out their revenue by global region. And revenue in pretty much every region went down by a lot, except for the U.S., other North America, and South America.
All right, guys.
Okay.
What happened there?
I don't know. Something really reverby.
We're all going through JP's mic now.
Something just really reverby happened in the microphones.
Yeah.
But hey, the show must go on. We're going live here.
Well, I feel like we're all coming through JP's mic now. Oh, now we're fixed.
No, we're here.
Yeah, we're back.
Okay. So, right, this has been a tough one, I have to say.
Yeah, we're neck and neck, Chad.
Dismantling JP last time.
I'm putting up a bit of a fight. I'm lasting at least until around 7 or 8.
We're going toe to toe.
Hapag Lloyd, guys. Hapag Lloyd, the Hamburg, Germany-based container shipping company, Hapag Lloyd.
Yeah.
Was their net profit $59 million?
Wait. Okay.
Over under. So this isn't earnings per share. This is their net profit.
I am going to say. So is it my turn?
Sure. No, I think it's his turn. Isn't it your turn?
Oh, it's your turn.
Okay, I don't know. I haven't looked at their earnings, so I have no clue on this. But I thought I heard someone in the office say that they had a great quarter. So I'm going to go with beat. Over.
Okay. He's going over.
I read the article and they went over.
There you have it.
All right.
All right.
You're still tied.
Well, you guys are wrong. They're under. They only made $56 million in the second quarter of 2019.
What?
I know the way the human memory works. So I was making sure to make that on purpose. But yeah, it was 59.
It's amazing. But you actually read the article. I think Chad should lose 2 points because he read the article.
For calling a shot for being like, yes, I know exactly. I read the article.
All right. Well, you have to give us the
Yeah.
Both,
All right.
All right.
So we're still tied.
Yeah. Revenue for the second quarter this year was
Okay.
$3.57 billion, though, compared with $3.36 billion in the same period in 2018. So revenue's up.
One of the things I noticed and I read about Hapag-Lloyd, I saw that they announced, and this has been really interesting because so many fires have been caused by this, but they're imposing a fee of $10,000 per box for miscategorized freight. Like if you have hazmat and you say it's like a general cargo or something like that, now Hapag-Lloyd, if they find out, they'll fine you $10,000.
Andrew just asked if my mic was low. I don't know. Is it off or low?
You
That's
sound
what
I can hear it. I can hear
Okay.
it in your
okay.
in mine.
Are
Okay.
we on auto slide? What? This is what live TV is all about.
Growing pains
Now I
in the
feel like-
studio.
Now I feel like my mic's off.
No,
All
I can
right.
I can hear you.
Okay, good. Okay, Roadrunner Transportation, EPS.
Well-
did they break even?
I bet they are a little down because they're Roadrunner and they keep trying to get all their act together. I'm going to say under.
We've got to get some differentiation.
tiebreaker-
We can't keep saying the
for
same
the
thing, right? So I'm going
tiebreaker.
to go ahead and say over.
All right.
He was right, and Chad was right. A little count off for Chad. Yeah, he was right. It was 89 cents.
Hey, what can you say?
The asset-light logistics service provider reported a 14% decline in total revenue year over year to $481 million. The decline was largely due to lower expedited logistics revenue, air and ground, and lower volumes.
But you know how
and
they
all the company's truckload offerings.
you know how they framed it? They said this is going to help us with our strategic focus.
Yeah. So wait, what is the score? I have two bonus ones.
He's up by
here.
one.
He's up by one. We'll have two bonus ones here.
Bonus.
All right.
So
All
right, guys.
tiebreaker.
All right, and there's no way you guys would have inside information unless you were really into snack food. So the first one is Hostess. Can I get a Twinkie?
Hostess. Well, you know, you might. Well, you.
Oh wait, 15 cents.
Yeah, I was like-
15 cents.
I'll say over.
All right.
Well, I'm going to say over too. See, I think that I'm going to go the
What are you
counterintuitive
doing?
approach.
Jeez.
I'm blocking him.
I gave you one.
Overs are 70% of the time.
Wow.
I think it's.
Yeah, but the way. Yeah, but I try to vary it up, so it's
the
not.
question is, how is Hostess
Well,
like with all the snack, the healthy snack foods out there? How is Hostess
tempering
still-
expectations, right? Well, it's their third
Right.
beat in a row. It's their third beat in a row, and it seems like their momentum is snowballing, you ding dongs.
Exactly.
that was great.
Little Hostess punch for you.
And maybe it's because Twinkies have a shelf life of like 5 years.
All right, last one.
They stopped making them in 1980, and they
All
just
right.
keep selling off their inventory.
Wait, wasn't there? Remember, like in 2011, there was this rumor that they were going to stop selling Twinkies. Remember, there was like a Twinkie panic, and like people were buying
Oh,
massive
yeah.
amounts of Twinkies.
I
You know what I'm
do
talking
remember
about?
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Wow,
All right.
Yeah. That was a lasting memory.
that disrupted the supply chain.
It did the Twinkies. All right, so this is the last one here. Is Wendy's 17 cents.
It's you. It's you. You have to pick first.
This is a tough one. Okay. I'll go. I kind of want to go over, but I'm going to go under. I'm going to say under. Maybe they're suffering from the Burger King announcing their new high-tech vegetarian meat and McDonald's taking over the world. So Wendy's down. I'm giving you an opening.
I'm going to say over because I read a report from Goldman Sachs.
You're
All
excited.
of the fast food stocks are on a crazy tear right now, and part of it has to do with wage
why?
growth. Wage growth in the bottom 10% and 25% of earners has been really fast, and they're spending it all on the dollar menu.
Yeah, so it was 18 cents.
Wow, he's really informed.
JB, but so you're also a vegetarian like me, and when
Yeah,
we go to
yeah.
fast food places, options are limited, and we don't have like the Impossible Burger out
The
here
Impossible
yet in
Burger.
Chattanooga. But bring it to us, please, Burger
Right.
King.
Yes.
and Impossible. So what's your fast food go-to place of choice then?
Well, my fast food go-to place of choice is Taco Bell. I get
Yeah.
the cheesy crunch gordita, sub beans for beef. But at Wendy's, I get a large fry and a Frosty. I'm dipping it.
Yeah, you gotta go chocolate
you're
on
making me hungry.
that. Well, thank you for joining us today, JP.
Dude, thanks for having
Yeah,
me.
I think it was a tie.
I think it was a tie.
It was a
I
tie.
think
All
you-
right.
you might have to come back.
Another rematch is in the works.
It's
dude. All
not
right.
over.
Let's keep this
It's
thing
You need,
going.
you need the rubber match.
Like the Rocky franchise. We'll
Yes.
just keep
Keep
going.
Keep stretching out. Great.
Rambo
Thanks
Last
to have you
Blood.
on here again. One of the OGs. JP. What else we got going on now? Who's up? Oh, I know. We've got Dean Craigie.
Get off the
Dean
blockchain.
Croak. Come on, it ain't no joke.
Blockchain? Let's make it digital.
Dean, Mean Machine Dean. Often the driver of the Grumpy Pete is on. Dean, you just tested, probably making your Grumpy Pete, your 2003 Peterbilt, kind of jealous. You just got off of a Pronto experience, a 2019 autonomous truck. Tell us about this.
Amazing experience, Chad. It was a white 350 579 called Lily. Every truck has to have a name.
Yeah.
This one was called Lily. And what was interesting was I'd never driven an automatic truck before. So that was a big shock, was not having a gear stick and a pedal.
That's
to
right.
change gears.
Ever since you were like 12, right?
Right. Well, technically 3 when I started driving
Wow.
automatic cars.
Yeah.
Yeah, I drove one through the garage wall, apparently.
So you have a
Apparently.
you have a CDL.
I do.
You've got the Grumpy Pete. You've driven the truck, as he mentioned, and this was this your first ride ever in an autonomous vehicle?
Anything, even automatic.
It wasn't even a ride. It was you drove it.
I drove. Yeah,
drove
so
it.
we went out 27 north for a ways, and I drove back. And what was interesting was the automatic transmission, the ability to focus just on the driving task. You didn't have all these other things to do.
Yeah.
Was it super smooth?
Very smooth.
Oh.
It was natural. So it's the level of autonomy where you don't take your hands off the wheel.
Okay.
Even though the vehicle steers itself when you engage in autopilot.
Yeah.
Or a co-pilot is as it's named. When you put co-pilot into engage mode, you can keep your hands on the wheel, which is what I do naturally, just to be precautionary. But you can feel it steering the whole truck.
Did you like that, or was it a little frustrating that you couldn't?
So initially it was a little bit unnatural,
right?
Because your natural inclination is to want to control the vehicle. But after a little while, I started to relax and just kept my hands there and just let the truck steer itself.
Yeah,
and that's the part that I thought over a long period of time that could actually be really beneficial and far less fatiguing.
What's the cockpit like compared to your regular diesel truck or the Grumpy Pete?
So these modern trucks are very ergonomic. They're also perfectly designed for a fleet truck. So they're they've got quite a steep hood. So you've got great visibility around the front. So
Okay.
unlike
Yeah.
my Peterbilt, because it's a 379 with a long hood, if I sit in traffic, I can't see the 3 cars in front of me.
Oh, wow.
Because you lose them under the hood.
Gosh.
Yeah. So even 2 big cars or 3 small cars. With this vehicle, you can see the vehicle in front of you.
A lot more
So you've got a lot more visibility. They're far more ergonomic. Everything's easily appointed. Everything's within. Everything's visual. You've got a lot more. The mirrors are fantastic. The seats are comfortable. So these new trucks that are designed for fleets are actually really, really comfortable to drive.
So as I understand, so this was a test drive. Pronto, they're kind of doing a circuit of sorts.
Yep.
They had a number. Did they have 5 engineers in there with you?
I think they're
Wow.
all engineers. There was three in the vehicle.
Were they in the way?
there?
What were they doing?
I just
Like-
watching and monitoring and
Okay.
and just monitoring the driving and making sure that everything was working as it should. And there was a point in time, I have to say, I was really surprised. I was watching a vehicle in my right-hand mirror, and as I was looking away to watch this vehicle, I looked back twice because their rate of speed was closing, and I thought they might cut in front of me from the right.
Yeah.
At the same time as I looked in the mirror, someone cut in front of me from the left,
Oh, wow.
and the vehicle automatically, the adaptive cruise control kicked in
Yeah.
and decelerated the truck as the other car accelerated away. It
Whoa.
measured the closing distance, or in this case, the increasing distance, and then the truck accelerated back to speed.
So pretty impressive.
I was impressed because where this technology comes into its own is when you don't realize you need it.
Yeah.
And that's when you're disconnected from the driving task because you're either asleep or distracted.
Now, Dean is a sleep specialist. So let me ask you something. What was the sleeper cab like in this truck, or did it have one?
It had 2 beds.
Oh, wow. 2 beds.
Beautiful,
For
comfortable
the
beds.
engineers.
Yeah, I guess so, because you still got to go with the engineer, right?
It was the perfect team truck.
Or for Amazon, FedEx to
You've got
work things out.
TVs, you can put a microwave in there, refrigerator, and everything you need to live away from home. I could see myself doing a lot of miles in a fleet truck like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. It
So
was beautiful.
So you're sold.
So you're a fan. So you're a fan of this
I'm a
technology.
fan of even though this technology will go in any truck, most makes and models. The Peterbilt, the big sleeper cab is just spectacular. But I'm a real fan of the technology because it's taken me 2 million miles to get the experience, and experience comes from poor judgment. And I've had a lot of poor judgment in my life where I've made mistakes as a driver. What this technology teaches you is, it doesn't teach you. I guess it gives you all of that experience that I've had to learn the hard way, but it's in a software program. So it's providing a level of comfort that takes years to get.
And that's one of the things that the public perception is that we've still got a long ways to go with that, right? People not realizing that it's sort of
took
like
our jobs kind of thing.
Well, there's a lot of that. Are these things really safe on the road? But one of the things with these computer modeling is that, to your point, it's taking the experience of millions and putting them all into a single source.
Benefits of technological advance. I think this isn't the limitation here isn't technology, right? The limitation with autonomous vehicles is more regulatory, and it's more public perception. It's a bit like saying, would you fly in a plane without a pilot? Yeah. Well, I know the technology can land and take off a plane without a pilot, but I'm comfortable having two guys up there. I think the same will be applied to trucking. I think people's perception and comfort level will have to come first.
Okay.
Dean, before you go, we always talk about this from the perspective of it being in electric trucks, but is it possible? You said that it can go in any truck. So is there room for this to adapt into diesel trucks and to go into legacy vehicles?
Absolutely. It's an aftermarket technology. This technology came out of the passenger automobile space.
Wow.
So they're actually bringing a lot of that adaptive cruise, lane departure warnings, collision avoidance from the car experience into commercial trucks.
Wow, Dean. Well, you're a lucky man. How do our viewers go out and reach out to you? I know you have a lot of interesting stuff, not just on sleep studies and not just on autonomous vehicles, but you're one of your chief data guy. You know, you're familiar with our sonar platform.
Right.
The back end and data on there is from Dean.
Contact us at FreightWaves.
Nice.
Where do they find you? You're on Twitter, right?
Twitter, FreightWaves ME, at FreightWaves ME.
All right.
Okay.
Nice. And that's not for Maine, is it?
Market expert.
That's not for Maine. ME. No. You do live in New England, though.
Me.
You do? All right.
He lives in Boston.
All right. You want to hit the cowbell before you walk out of here?
I'd love to.
I would love for you to hit it. Thank you.
Hey, just getting the feel for it. For old Bessie.
Getting the feel. We'll have you hit a little harder next time.
Okay.
All right, thanks,
Great
Dean.
to have you in, Dean. Thank you. Thanks for that report on Pronto.
Yeah.
And now, without further ado, let's bring in Kyle Cunningham.
You may have seen him live on the night shift last night. Got a notification if you're a follower of us, and that's the way you're seeing this. And that show looked fantastic, too. But he's here to join us to tell us what.
On the Radar, presented by Sonar.
I was a little late on that. Man, what happened to your booth?
It was too hot. We just exploded out of here. You know what happened to the viewers happened. We've been doing such a good job with these streaming things. It was pretty easy to convince the powers that be to allow us to test monkey this in this brand new studio and make the first show to come out of here. It's an honor. It's great stuff. Thank you guys.
Yeah, thank you, everybody.
Yeah, welcome.
I was just checking. You guys have viewers and listeners in Amsterdam and Iran, and you're worldwide. You know that?
Yeah.
We're still working on Mongolia.
That's fair enough. Antarctica.
Antarctica.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, let's go drive a truck down Antarctica.
Yeah, with the frozen truck. We could take, Dean was just in here telling us about the autonomous vehicle that can be adapted into any type of truck.
Amazing.
I imagine any type of vehicle, right? Any type of car, at least.
Yeah, and it's come from passenger cars. It's pretty interesting.
What about scooters? They can have an autonomous electric Vespa?
You could go down the phone, and you could be on your scooter and just scroll on your phone as you go down the road.
I mean, part of the fun is just twisting that. Yeah.
A guy can dream, as I say.
So Kyle, you have a bunch of new shows. You got the night shift. We mentioned
Night Shift, yeah.
You got Traffic Jams, your new show. All this stuff is gearing up for FreightWaves TV. Chat is also a big part of it. Tell us a little bit about what those shows cover and maybe touch on some of the disruptions coming into this weekend.
Yeah, absolutely. So Traffic Jams concept. There's traffic in sonar now, and it's a beautiful, beautiful thing.
Cool.
The reason being is that with the live traffic cameras, if you see a red zone or orange zone, just go in there, flash up a camera, see what's going on. If you're delivering freight, you can take a screenshot directly from sonar and say, hey, look, I got a little backup. I'm going to be able to send this over to the receiver. And especially it's hot now, but when it's cold, this stuff's going to be really valuable for operations.
Yeah.
And then in regards to night shift, we've really we'll have a really exciting announcement in regards to a featured sponsor that's going to be released soon. And then on top of that, we've formatted it from a 2-person show into a 4-man panel. So Everybody who's out there, I got to plug this right now. I am looking for anybody who's willing to come on a show like this, except at 7 p.m. on Wednesdays. I want you to come on my show, our show, and be able to speak about freight. If you can talk freight, 30 minutes, small carrier geared stuff. If you're a truck driver, please route yourself to Chattanooga. We'll have you on the show and come be a guest.
All right. I'm not promoting. Let's get down to business here, right?
Cyclones. I'd like to know. Oh, cyclones. Go ahead. Hit us with some cyclones. What's happening there?
Cyclones as in...
I don't know. There's a cyclone coming in. It's going to disrupt some ports.
Well, where, like, let's hit to the bottom line. Where should drivers avoid this weekend?
Oh, man, this weekend. I was looking at volumes. I mean, everything's pretty steady across the board. If you really look at the concept of the outbound volume compared from this time last year, 2018, which is, 2018 last year, which is really interesting because it was actually trending down at this point last year. There's been an inversion to where the national freight volumes are about 283 points higher than they were this time last year. So, last year being this banner year of freight, it was kind of dying down at this point where we're at right now, seeing the outbound. But here's the other thing is that the current outbound rejections are under 4%, which is basically near an all-time low. So brokers, shippers, they're making good money. Carriers, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of them out there are basically keeping the lights on. So we need a little volatility in the other direction to keep those guys running. But otherwise, I mean, stay tuned for FreightWaves now. I'm doing the carrier segment nearly every day. Have a couple fill-ins, but I'm going to keep you up to date around noon. That's coming out now.
Yeah, and that's on FreightWaves now. So you want to be tuning in, checking that out. That's one of our video.
And speaking of cyclones, though, you got to look in a critical events tab.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
See, I've been so bogged down.
No, I know. And you're not Nick Austin, who's usually here with the fast-paced forecast, but he's on the fast-paced vacation right now.
Good. He deserves it.
Yeah, he does.
He works hard.
He's just chasing too many storms. It tires you out. What about the shippers, though? Is there somewhere the shippers should be looking to go?
Anywhere. I mean, it's a shipper's market.
It's a shipper's market.
It's a shipper's market outside of unless you're shipping refrigerated freight out of Spokane or Twin Falls.
Yeah.
Or you're, shipping frozen stuff out of the middle of the country. It's a shipper's party. And the reason being is it's straight up capacity. I mean, we could spend 2 hours talking about that, but Sonar, lots of really, really exciting stuff that's going to be released this weekend. I'll save those details for the release notes. But if you're a Sonar subscriber, go ahead, make sure you take a look at what's happening this weekend. If you want to be a Sonar subscriber, reach out.
Kyle, I know that you love to have feedback from the fans. I heard you last night. You were apologizing to the brokers for some things you may have said, but we do a segment on here called Comment Section Rodeo where we hear from our readers on the new and improved FreightWaves.com, and we're trying to incorporate some of the people in the live feed, too, who are typing messages. But would you like to stay and read a couple comments with us?
Absolutely, man.
All right, we have some marked out for you on here. Let's cue the music.
Comment Section Rodeo.
Yaw! Thank y'all. Who's that yaw guy? That yaw guy we were reading about earlier.
Oh.
You're doing good at being a Southerner, man. You're breaking in pretty well. As the guy from Boston, you got the
really
boots
embraced
on.
the culture.
I got the gun.
He's going to show us the boots.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now you just need
all right, put those back on.
Your carry permit and a big lifted truck.
Yeah.
I don't know about that because I'm kind of like a digital. I got like a digital horse.
I gotcha. Yeah.
All right. So here's Comment Section Rodeo from our dear readers. This is from the article, Firms Help U.S. Bypass China Tariffs via Canada. Did you even know they could do that?
I actually had a theory on that. I mean, what's stopping you from just going China, Mexico, and say cross dock in Mexico and breaking it in that way?
Well, when I was with a broker who was very much entrenched in the border, one thing we used to do all the time was bring goods into Montreal. Mm-hmm. Now, it wasn't usually to get away from tariffs because the tariffs were pretty harmonized between the two countries at the time, but it would be usually to just expedite between ports. So you would come into Montreal, go down through St. Albans, Vermont, and bring it into New York. It really depended on location, but I could see that working for tariff things too.
I feel like there'd be some trouble with customs if they found out what you were doing.
Well, here's what Timothy R. says. He says, this is wrong, and I hope the administration acts quickly to update the law. More than likely, this is an old, out-of-date law needing to be amended. Zero back door for communist China. No leeway. Stop the smuggling. Hashtag stop the smuggling. Hashtag real Donald Trump.
Okay, you heard it here. He's had enough of these.
He's had enough.
My hashtag is I mean, it's like a capitalist communist nation. It's really strange.
My hashtag is more freight and more cowbell.
More freight.
More freight. If this is more freight, then that's good.
It works for me.
Yeah.
I on the same topic, just some guy has this to say. This is not smuggling, as it is a legal business practice. Also, this is just one of many ways companies will find ways of avoiding tariffs, such as moving production from China to Vietnam.
Yeah.
The only thing the U.S. is doing is costing their citizens money and dragging their own economy. All right, just some guy.
Yeah.
More than just some guy today. Famous.
Yeah, just some guy.
All right, so new article. Kyle, why don't you read us? What's this article that you're...
Looks like, okay, so Mercurygate adds Uber Freight's capacity and pricing to TMS system. David T. says, I bet Mercurygate's broker and 3PL customer just love the awful message this sends to them. In fact, I bet all of Mercurygate's broker customers are already shopping for a new TMS software system. Mercurygate just told all their broker and 3PL clients, hey, we are putting Uber Freight rates in front of all of your customers. If I was one of the big 3PLs using Mercurygate, I would be so blanked off. Well, the thing about that is freight's going to move, man. It's a supply and demand driven economy. And, disruption doesn't stop for people's opinions.
Well, we did TMS integrations last year, too, and it's a process, man.
It is.
It takes time to integrate, and you can't just move off your TMS because they had Uber Freight. And Mercurygate's one of the big ones. They're one of the big TMS. Once they start adding, all of the TMS are gonna start bringing it. Unless you want to use like one of those crappy free TMS softwares, which
good luck.
Well, let's see what Smith Jones says on the same topic. Yeah. What a stupid move on Mercurygate's part. I have heard things have really gone to pieces there since a lot of their brain trust left. This just reaffirms what I am hearing.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
Well, some of our readers are raging against the machine as these automated bulls go on parade. In the article, self-driving trucks now make deliveries in Dallas. Jimmy Wells, he said, oh, geez, look out for Dean out there. Any driver that helps operate this thing during those middle miles need to have his knees broken. The time for political action is over. If we don't stop them, nobody will.
Wow. I mean, he's going to rally the troops.
He's going to rally the troops.
Wait, I get to read another comment from just some guy.
He comments a lot.
Just some guy also says that would do nothing to stop this inevitable technology from advancing. The only result would be one person in the hospital and the other in prison with a massive lawsuit to look forward to.
Wow, that is really dark. These are really dark comments.
Yeah, it's really like
Kyle,
Rise of the Machines is the next Terminator. They're coming for us, and there is a little fear factor. I can see it. With AI and automation, and
it's new.
It's a brave new world.
I mean, really, if you think about it, there's gonna be some trouble. It's not perfect. The whole thing is, life moves forward. Oh, what do we got here? We got RJ saying driver has to be in the driver's seat entire time. How is it self-driving? More like advanced version of cruise control. And here's the thing: if that's the case, the rates are going to go down, man. I mean, that's just how it's going to be. If it ends up being cheaper to place a butt in a seat, I mean, so like I tell everybody, don't freak out. Don't lose your mind. This isn't happening tomorrow. Make yourself more valuable. Get your hazmat, run oversized, run flatbed, run the oil field. Hey, North Slope in Alaska. I was on the plane flying back from the wedding, talking to this guy. He made $300K last year working the North Slope in Alaska, 2 on, 2 off, right?
Yeah.
Working 2 weeks a month, making $300K a year. Granted, it's like negative 75, but
if you can handle it, if you can handle the frostbite, making some good dough.
Well, and he has his CDL. So I was going to ask you if this whole Skynet thing had you running scared, but it sounds like you are like, you know what? You got to swim with the current.
You're like adapt.
And you mentioned airplanes, and it sounds like this autonomous stuff is a lot closer to the autopilot that's inside of an airplane than just a ghost truck, driving down the street.
I think what'll be really cool, and I mean, you see the guy who was just in here, Dean, you've seen Grumpy Pete, you see myself on my list of what you like to say, I'm not buying a Lamborghini, I'm buying a Peterbilt, right? I love driving trucks. I love shifting gears. I love going up hills, down hills. That will never die. But the concept of freight's got to move, especially volumes, will continue to rise outside of a, massive nuclear recession because of e-commerce, because of the population growing. And so, when it comes down to it, embrace the change, but make yourself valuable. This is the USA. You can do anything you want to do.
Woo! Yeah, embrace the change. Hashtag freight gonna move.
All right, guys. So you can find this show, you can find the old-fashioned audio podcast version on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, and everywhere podcasts are heard around the world. Like us on LinkedIn, like us on YouTube, like us on Facebook, like us on Twitter, because you can see these live shows, and you'll also get notifications when Kyle goes live with things like traffic jams and what is the other, the night shift, and all the
and we're going to be at GATS. If you're going to be at the Great American Truck Show.
Great American Truck Show, a little cowbell for GATS. That's going to be good stuff.
We'll see y'all there.
Yeah.
They'll be there.
Yeah.
I'll be holding down the fort.
This weekend, check out FreightWaves Radio on 146. That's Road Dogg Trucking exclusively on Sirius. We're going to have Z Schreiber, CEO of Freightos, who is on my own FreightWaves Insiders, a deep dive with him. By the way, Kyle Littner of K-Ratio, he was on the radio show last week.
Great guy.
He's this week's subject on FreightWaves Insiders.
Love it.
Freight All Kind about race cars going to be coming out. Who else is on there? Sarah Hernandez, assistant professor at the University of Arkansas School of Civil Engineering. FreightWaves data genius, Dean Croak was in here, right?
You got to be careful.
He's going to be on the show, too?
Your drumstick there, dude.
You need a holster for that thing, dude.
I sure do. Chad, what do you got going
on? Nothing. Nothing at all.
It's summertime, man. It's August. It's hot. It's slow.
Yeah. All right. Well, you can find him. I'll talk for you. You can find him at Chad Prevost on the Twitter. You can find me at Timothy Dooner. I don't know if you are on Twitter, are you?
Not really. LinkedIn. Kyle Cunningham.
Yep. Chad Prevost. Timothy Dooner. Coming at you live. Anybody got anything else before I hit the closing music?
Goodbye.
Woo! I'm gonna take my cab out to the Old Town Road.
That's gonna be stuck in my head for like 10 days ago.
And I'm gonna bang it like I ain't banging anymore. Kyle Cunningham.
I'll see y'all later.
All right.
Bang your cab out for the weekend.
Thank you.
Bang your cab out for the night shift. Bang your cab out for FreightWaves production team for putting this show on. Bang your cab out for Chad Prevost. Because you've been listening to What the Truck. Bang your cab out until your hands are bleeding, Chad. Bang your cowbell for the freight economy. Bang your cowbell for a soft landing for Amazon and FedEx. I think they're gonna be fine.